Can you go into some of the specifics about how you use the data for addressable advertising, particularly if a lot of it is hashed?
Right. So we don't do addressable.
Okay.
Basically, what we do is we look at the viewer behaviors using our data in much more granular way than, say, you can look at it via applications on Nielsen, for example. And we look at the targets that our advertiser customers are looking for, and we overlay that information onto the viewing data, and we get a really good sense of the probability that the advertiser's desired target will be viewing the programs that we're proposing in our campaign plans. So that's the first step, and then we optimize on that information so that we can get the greatest reach for the best price for the advertiser across a wide variety of inventory, including local inventory. And we take this inventory, we assemble it such that it has a national footprint. Once the campaign is complete, we can look and see, again, using this data at a much more granular level, how well the campaign performed given the metrics that they have, whether it be, I want to reach, a certain target, I want so many impressions, I want a certain level of frequency, I want a certain cost per converted viewer, for example, for the tune-in campaigns.
When talking about a target demographic or a target consumer or target viewer, how sophisticated is that target? Are we just talking age, gender? Are we talking psychographics or lifestyle?
Right. So we bring a lot of data to bear for the targeting, to build the targets. We have MRI data, which we apply. We have obviously demo and age and income and that kind of thing, again, applied to the set-top box data via our different partners. Day of week, time of day viewing, previous program viewing, etc.
Do you have individual age and gender, or is it household described, like matching it to Experian, for example?
We basically use our data partners at Nielsen to get a lot of the demographic data that we use for our targeting. We also look at the census data to get a good understanding of how that compares to what we're seeing in the household. But the demographic of the viewer, we go with the industry currency, which is basically Nielsen.
I know that asset identification is not a big part of your job, but I'm sure you have some insights into it. Can you share them?
Well, just starting to dabble, so I have a lot to learn. But probably the big challenge that I'm struggling with at the moment is if I can identify content that's being viewed, but I'm not really sure where it's coming from. How valuable is that, and how able are we to monetize it? So, for example, if you're viewing Law and Order episode number 1, 2, 3, and there's so many different ways that you can obtain that episode. You could be watching it live, you could be watching it via DVR, you can be watching it via video on demand, you could be watching it via an internet-based video service. Until we get really good methods for understanding where that content is coming from, and how the viewer is interacting with the television that's recognized or the device that's recognized the content, I think there's some challenges ahead.